Hi, my name is Chelsea and welcome to Collective Self, an intentional community where you are always welcome. I am so happy to see you today. Today I'm going to tell you about my foolproof manifestation method. If you really have a lot of resistance to something and you need to break down a lot of that to manifest what you want, this is going to be the thing for you. I manifested my relationship with this. We've been happily together for 3 years now, and this is something that I'm using also for money, and I've seen huge results with it. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned. But before we get into that, let me give the affirmation of the day, which is, it is possible to receive anything that I desire. It is possible to receive anything I desire. And with that, let's get into the video. So the first thing that you need to do is affirm. It is possible for me to receive anything I desire. It is possible for me. If you know about it, if you heard about it, if you have an inkling in your heart, it is possible for you. The thing that I told myself when I was trying to manifest my relationship is that if I exist, the love that I desire, the person that my heart will feel happy and safe around, exists. If I exist, the thing that I want exists. Period. No questions asked. So the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, do I really believe that this is possible for me? And if the answer is no, then you need to first address that. Because when we don't believe that what we want is possible for us, that negates any of the work that we're doing moving forward. Like, manifestation is truly about our awareness and our belief. And so when we are aware that we don't believe something is possible, then it's not possible. It can never be possible, no matter how much you affirm, no matter how much you persist. It's just not possible for you because you believe that it's not possible. So identify whether or not you believe it's possible for you. And if you don't believe it's possible for you, why not? Address that. Sit with that. See why not. And if it's something that you know has happened for others, then really remind yourself of that. This has happened for others, so why can't it happen for me? Why not me? What's the difference between me and this other person? Even think of examples of people who you feel like don't deserve to have this thing that have it. For example, a relationship. We all know a shitty ass person who's in a loving relationship, and we're like, well, how the fuck did they get in this relationship? Right? So if they can be happy and they can be loved for who they are and they can receive the love that they desire, why can't you? You're amazing. You're wonderful. You're successful. Okay? Believe that it's possible for you. So that's your first barrier. Okay? Belief. If you don't believe it's possible, it will never be possible. We have to be able to identify that our existence is proof enough that whatever we desire can come to fruition. Number 2, shadow work. So what I want you to do is identify a time in the morning, at night, or maybe on your lunch break, whatever you prefer, that you can do shadow work. And I want you for 30 days to answer questions in the realm of the thing that you're trying to manifest, right? So if I'm trying to manifest love, I'll ask, what stories do I have about love? And I'll answer that question. I'll give myself even a time limit if I don't want to spend all day on it. And then I'll read through it. And then what I'll do is I'll pull out those stories that I find from the question that I asked myself, and I'll write the opposite of that. And I'll reframe that. And you can do this consistently over 30 days. And it is amazing how much your mindset can change when you become aware of the stories you're telling yourself, and then literally flip them on their head and tell yourself the opposite story. You know, what if the opposite is true, right? And so just go through, do your shadow work. And after you do your shadow work, you're going to make intentional time to sit and meditate on and visualize what you want, right? We're doing the hard work of addressing ourselves and our old beliefs and our old patterns in our ego, right? And once we've done that, we can do the fun work, which is sitting and getting in the state of the wish fulfilled and really sitting and marinating in that, okay? Enjoying that and enjoying that space, right? So that's another way that you can begin to shift and begin to see massive change. After that, you're going to identify 5 things that you can do in your physical reality, using your physical body, your skills, your talents, your abilities to bring this thing to you. For me, it was reading books. It was going on dates. It was making sure that I'm on the apps, that I'm making myself as appealing as possible, right? And through doing those things, I became more comfortable with the space. I became more comfortable with, the people who I was going on dates with. I became more comfortable with seeing myself as somebody who was not only capable of attracting the person that I desire, but filtering out the people who I do not desire. And that was a huge thing for me, because what I ended up doing and what ended up happening is that, I would go on a date, I would enjoy it, and I would get disappointed that it wasn't the person, but I would always remind myself, you know what? I am just one step closer to being with the person who I'm meant to be with. And this person is out here. And this person had these great qualities that I like, but they had these other qualities that I don't like. And really just being very intentional about how I'm choosing to see it. Seeing every single thing as something that's bringing me closer, to my husband. And it did. It truly, truly did. So making sure that not only are you taking that mental and emotional space to reframe, but taking physical action, because we want to see things in the 3D world. And one of the best ways to do this is to discipline ourselves to move into the space where not only are we, thinking of what we want and identifying what we want and believing we can have what we want, but embodying what we want on a cellular level, on a physical level. And so that means, to me, choosing 5 activities, 5 things I can do. It might be once or it might be on a consistent basis. 5 things I can do that are in alignment with the values of what I wanted. So I wanted to manifest love, so I read books about love. I watched videos on love. I watched things about how to be a good wife. I wore a wedding ring. I literally wore a ring on my ring finger. And look, this is the ring. He gave me this ring. Right? I wore a ring, and I was always talking about, I'm manifesting my husband. I told my friends, I'm manifesting my husband. I'm meeting my husband this year, and I certainly did. Okay, so do things that are really going to put you in the embodiment of what you want. We don't want to just have it be something that's all up in the air, in the ether, when we can do things that are going to make us feel in our body what we want is already ours. Okay, so make sure that not only are you doing your shadow work and doing your visualizations and doing those things that are addressing those, emotional wounds and those blockages, but also moving towards that and how your body, how you're moving your body in your day-to-day life, how your habits are forming themselves, because our habits form who we are. And so I think I've said enough about that. Another thing that I did was I wrote a list. I wrote a list of everything that I wanted in a partner, and I stuck to that list. I have a scripting notebook that I consistently use for all the scripts that I wrote, and I just kept it in there. Another thing that really was impactful for me was I scripted, and scripting is literally just writing as if it's already happened. You can keep a scripting notebook, almost like a diary, and every single day, you can write a diary entry about living the life that you love. It doesn't always have to be something that's like, heavy and a chore. I personally find that creative writing gives me in a state where I'm excited about what I'm manifesting. I truly do feel like scripting for me personally is one of the most key things and key ways that I manifest. Because when I write, I'm put into the state of the wish fulfilled, because I am literally I'm envisioning what I'm writing, and then I'm writing it down, putting pen to paper, and putting those, thought forms into a physical form. And it's all here. It's all here now. So write down your list. Write your list of how you want things to be for you, the type of relationship you want to have, whether it's with money, whether it's with your job, whether it's with yourself. Right? The only thing that we're doing is forming different sorts of relationships to the things that we want. That's the only thing that manifesting is. You're forming a new relationship to this thing that you want, right? So write down the terms of this relationship and make sure that you are acting in accordance with those terms. Do not turn back. Do not feel bad because somebody told you that you're asking for too much or that you're being too picky, okay? You're not being too picky by asking for what you want. Okay, you're not being too picky for identifying what you need. You deserve to get what you need. Nobody else gets to decide what you deserve, and nobody else gets to decide what you need, okay? So be very mindful that you are writing a list that's not just based on what you believe others will say you deserve, but what you truly actually want for yourself. And I promise you, when you act in alignment with that, it will magnetize you to the things that you actually want. And the things that you don't want, they'll begin to fall away. And it might seem like at first more things that you don't want are coming through, but that's just everything that you don't want clearing out to make space for what you do want, okay? And lastly, I let it go. I didn't put a timeline on it. I didn't put any restraints on how or when I was going to meet my partner. All I said was I want to meet my partner, and I'm moving towards that. And every single thing that I'm doing is moving me towards that. That's all I did. I didn't say, I have to meet him at, 11:59 p.m. on a Wednesday when I'm out at this bar. No, I let things happen naturally. And I didn't force the people who I was around to embody the husband characteristics. And what's so funny is that when I met my partner, I had all these reservations because of my ego and because of past ways that I was used to relating that were not going to fly in the type of relationship that I wanted to manifest. Because I wanted to manifest a relationship with unconditional love, with patience, with joy, with vulnerability. And for that to happen, I had to really take a step back and look at the ways that I was not showing up in that way. And I went through a huge period of growth that was actually very painful for me because I had to learn how to interact in ways that were softer and more gentle. And that was really hard. I had to learn how to communicate what I wanted, which is something that I had not learned before. I even had to learn how to listen more, how to see him as not just a man who a man who's going to fulfill the desire of the husband that I want, but as a person whose presence I enjoy, whose presence I like to experience, whose personhood is not dependent on him as my husband, but whose personhood is dependent on who he is, and I need to see if that person who he is the person I want to be my husband. And so I wasn't taking a man and fitting him into the husband hole and saying there's a man, he's going to fit here because this is what I want and he's going to be my husband. No, I had to say, here's a man, here's a person, right? Let's see if what they do is in alignment with who I want my husband to be. And when I literally said that, I said, I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to do anything that's really putting so much pressure on the situation. I'm going to sit back and relax and see how things flow. I'm going to let him be who he is, and I'm going to be who I am. And let's see how things go. And literally, as soon as I did that, I started falling in love. I was like, you know what? This actually is the person who I want to be with. This is the person who I love. This is the person who I would be happy to have their children. I would be happy to be their wife. I would be happy if this was my person, if this was my husband. I would be happy if I had a son like him. He's the best man I've ever met, right? And I would not be able to see that if I was putting my ego in front of the actual energy that he brought and the person that he is, right? When I was putting my ego in front of it, right, which is not real, which is not coming from a place of my true desire, because our ego is a mask, right? It's a false identity that we build. I was not able to see that. But when I said, you know what, let me remove my ego and let me remove my neediness in a way. Let me remove these things that I feel like I need for this person to be, and let me just allow them to be. And when I allowed him to exist as he is, I began to see this is actually the person that I've been asking for and praying for and manifesting, right? So do not get in your own way, right? You might need to learn how to exist in new ways before your manifestation takes full form. Because what we actually do is we turn into the person who can maintain and sustain the manifestations that we want. The first year of our relationship, I cried so much because I had to learn how to be loving, how to go through conflict, how to go through so many things that I had never learned before in other relationships, right? I had to turn into the person who would eventually be a wife, who would eventually, be kind and loving and openly so, and without regard to self all the time, right? And not to say that I don't regard myself in the relationship, but just to say to give selflessly without keeping score or keeping track. I had to learn how to do those things. And through our relationship, through our dating, through even me dating other people, I've learned how to do those things. And over time, I've grown into a person who's even more ready for marriage. And we're not married yet, but I'm still growing into the person who's going to be an amazing wife to an amazing husband, right? So just be very mindful that we are becoming what we need to be in order to manifest what we want. Okay, it might be hard sometimes. You will go through growing pains. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially if it's something that's huge. Okay, and you're at point A, and it looks very different than the point B that you're trying to get to. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. You're going through these trials not because you can't get what you want, but because you're getting exactly what you want. You're not going through these trials because you're not going to get what you want. You're going through these trials because you are getting exactly what you want. And with that, I really do hope this helped. I hope that I give you a good framework. Let me go over it again. Identify that you deserve to receive what you want, that you can receive what you want, that is possible for you. Write a list of everything that you want. Do your shadow work. Write down the stories that come up through asking yourself questions and journaling and sitting and pondering about where you stand on the situation in relationship to the thing that you want to manifest. After you do your shadow work, make sure that you spend time in visualization and doing the manifestation techniques that make you feel your best, that make you feel in the state of the wish fulfilled. And then finally, put 2 to 3 to 5 things in place that you can do to begin embodying that person right now. And with that, I will leave you here. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join our collective self, our intentional community, where I post memes, I post small inspirations, and I encourage others to do the same, sharing where they're at with their manifestation journey. And you can ask me any questions that you have about manifesting. I am so happy to answer them. Follow me on TikTok at CollectiveSELF, and I will see you very, very soon. I love you very much. Bye.